The Real Grill, the show where we give you sizzling reviews, fiery opinions, and grilling movies in general. So we're going to be talking about a few movies that we love and a few movies that we hate. Basically, just generally movies that are up and coming and just recent. This week we are talking about Jordan Peele's latest movie. It's a sci-fi horror slash thriller called Nope. Join us as we peel back the layers of this movie and dissect it, see what the themes are, what the messages are, what he's trying to say with this movie, and just give our general opinions. Some of us, maybe we love it, maybe we hate it, but you never know until you watch till the end. But it's definitely worth checking it out just to see how we feel, because with Jordan Peele movies, they're very divisive, and this one's no different. So it could literally go either way. Anyways, hope you're ready to sort of enjoy this discussion and get into it. So without further ado, I'll let you listen to the rest of the review. Thank you. Take care.
Every time I saw the trailer for Nope, the guy who plays the IT guy, I kept thinking that was Buddy Jaden Smith. Every time I saw the trailer, I was like, Jaden Smith, and then I was like, oh wait, no, it's not him. Did anyone else get confused by him at all? Or that was just me? I kept thinking,
Jaden Smith.
He's a completely different race, so I don't know how you would get.
What? Will Smith's son? Do you guys not think he looks a bit like Jaden Smith? Look at his face.
I actually thought he looked like the kid from Euphoria, actually.
Bruv, pull him up on Google Images right now. Look at his facial features.
He's not even the same race, bro. What are you talking about?
Dude, forget the skin tone. Look at his face, bro. Like, I can see Jaden Smith in there.
Okay, I mean, you say so. If you say so, man.
And bruv, and also in the trailer, one of the scenes in the trailer, he does look pretty tan, bruv. Like, obviously not black, but he looks bare tan. Like,
of course, Ruben.
I mean,
bruv, you can see it.
He has that
kind of Sabrina, haven't you?
And what?
He has that kind of I guess he's like spaced out, no pun intended, but he's like really kind of into conspiracies. So I guess that's how you would kind of relate with him to Jaden Smith.
that's just a custom Jaden Smith.
Yeah, but that's how Jaden. Have you seen Jaden Smith's tweets? His Twitter just comes out. They're almost random tweets, man. Like the things.
Yeah, some random philosophical
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Statements.
You have to put Jaden Smith on Twitter.
Nah, but it's just kind of like you just not hear about it.
It's just well known that he does say a lot of random shit.
Him and his sister.
Yeah,
I don't follow the Smiths, so yeah.
Cool.
Unless there's gonna be a slap part 2, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Slap part 2.
I'm not interested.
I'm not sure Will Smith is gonna get invited to any more places to give him the opportunity to slap someone. So.
Oh man, the slap part 2, bro. I'm still waiting for them to do a celebrity boxing match, man. That'd be sick.
Settle your beef,
rematch,
settle your beef in the ring, innit? He sucker slapped me. He sucker slapped you in it, yeah. Now's your chance to settle.
Wait, are they even in the right? Are they even in the same weight class though? That's the thing. Anyway,
no. Chris Rock is not a fighter. Chris Rock is not a fighter, so it'd be very one-sided.
Oh well, yeah, bro.
and he's older. He's older than Will Smith as well. So
this is it. That's true. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle still. Maybe no handicap. Anyway, all right, let's get to the review, guys. So, do you wanna do the pause thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome, guys. This week we're talking about the latest movie from Jordan Peele called Nope, which is would you call it interstellar? A sci-fi style sort of urban legend set in, I think it's like in the state of Nevada, or one of those desert states. It's basically based on this Hollywood wrangler by the name of OJ. He's recently tragically lost his father. He's basically Hollywood wrangler, so what he does, he supplies horses, like trained horses for commercials, movies, etc. And he's just there with his sister, of course, to provide the stunt animals. Their business is struggling right now because he lost his father, who was the business owner, due to like a freak sort of incident where some metallic objects were raining from the sky. One of them actually pierced his father's skull and killed him instantly. And then they find out there's something out in the clouds where it's mysteriously going around and causing havoc. Not gonna, obviously we're gonna get into spoilers eventually, but yeah, right now just kind of leave it at that point, and then we'll slowly talk about the scenarios and like the scenes in the movie which kind of happen. So I don't know if there's anything you guys wanted that kind of on your mind you wanted to kind of get out, and just this is a bit of a puzzling movie for a lot of people. So are there any like pressing questions that you wanted to kind of share?
The only thing I would add is that at the very beginning of the movie, it starts off with behind the scenes of a popular sitcom called Gordy's Home, and we see the one of the characters, which is played by a chimpanzee, go crazy and is covered in blood, and we don't get the full context of what's going on at that time as well. So that's also added in there for additional confusion at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is clarified later in the movie.
No, that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot. But no, that is a good, very, very good point of like how this
clarified to a point.
Yeah, and
you've got to do a bit of homework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Honestly, like if you see that and you're like, yeah, that will make sense. Then I don't know. What kind of person you are, but
at the end of the movie, you understand about the monkey, and that was one of the most interesting things about me. This movie was, why did this monkey do what it did? And you don't actually find out, which was a bit annoying.
Well, I mean, it's left to interpretation. So, I mean, I can personally say I wouldn't say I understand 100% of this movie. But there's I'd say a good like 90% I kind of figured out, like just through looking at other reviews and like watching videos online, and kind of just coming to certain conclusions. I mean, obviously I'll get into it a bit later, but yeah, I kind of see why the significance of the chimpanzee and like how it kind of plays into the rest of the movie. I know for like most people it's like, what is this? What's the point of this? Why is there a chimpanzee? This has got nothing to do with the rest of the plot. What are you telling me? Yeah, so it is frustrating. I can understand that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, go on, Lord.
Yeah. I'll just try to think of the best way to tackle this review now. Because I guess the overall theme of the movie, which I might as well guess since we're talking about it now, one of them at least, and it's not a theme I cared about, but seems to be the exploitation of animals for human entertainment.
Yeah.
And I couldn't give a damn about that theme, to be honest. So a big part of this movie is about the exploitation of animals for human entertainment, which includes the big reveal of them trying to capture a photograph of this alien, so again they can sell it for their own profit and personal gain, and they made a horror movie out of that theme, which it didn't work for me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know everyone else.
I mean the film. I definitely get what you're saying, but it didn't come across as one of those movies where that theme at least was in your face. Like, it wasn't a driving point behind the film. It didn't feel like it was designed to make you feel any particular way about the issue. I guess it's just something that was thrown in there to get you thinking, but not something that was put in there.
I mean, it was woven throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was woven throughout the movie, but it wasn't something like, you didn't have a lot of dialogue that focused on specifically the exploitation of animals. It was a visual thing. You see it happening on screen and you piece together what it means to you while you watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wasn't explicitly told, so that's why a lot of people will come out this movie thinking, what the hell, what's the point of the chimpanzee scene?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the rest of the movie at all.
Yeah,
Unless you understand the theme that they were trying to deliver through those visuals. It seems like very out of place. And even the first time I saw it, I was like, so what the hell does this chimpanzee have to do with anything? Like, so why did we keep showing it? Like, so that is the reason. Yeah.
But you know what? I guess it might be easier simplifying the story, so leaving out all of the metaphors and just simplifying it down to what you see on screen. How did you guys feel about the actual the simplified face value side of the story?
I don't think you can really watch this movie from that perspective, from like a simplified perspective, because I think it will just be too kind of abstract to grasp. Like, why is the chimp attacking these humans? Why are these scenes in the movie? You can't, like, there's no direct connect. There's no one that comes out and says, oh, by the way, guys, that this chimpanzee was an alien all along. Like that's not a thing. So you can't look at it from a simple perspective. You just have to see the metaphor behind it. And I can sort of see. I mean, if you guys want me to say it, I'll say it. Basically what I think that connects the chimpanzee to the large part of the story is Gordy. Basically, Gordy, he is the child star of Gordy's home. Obviously, he grows up to, create the sort of the owner of the theme park.
You mean Jupe?
Jupe, sorry, yeah, Jupe's claim, right? Now we find out that this whole time he's basically been like making these spectacle arenas to basically draw crowds in, and they basically see the alien feeding off the horses, and ultimately this is what kind of leads to Jupe's demise, or Gordy's demise, whatever his name is. Now the thing with the chimp is, obviously, if you guys cast your minds back to when the chimp actually attacks the cast members, he basically savagely attacks everybody except Gordy or Jupe, and this kind of leads him to believe that he has some sort of he's basically special, like, predators see him differently, and he can basically tame a predator.
Yeah.
So just like the chimpanzee, who goes from a wild animal to basically being his friend, that's why he gives him the spud, yeah. So they have that kind of bond. He sees himself as having a bond with this extraterrestrial, whereas like as long as he keeps feeding it horses, it will he'll basically have that bond with it, have that contract, and use it, or exploit it, as you were saying, Law, basically exploiting beasts. But that leads to his demise, and that the bond that he built up from the chimp is what kind of reinforces this complex, or this sense of superiority within him as an adult. So that's how I see the connection, basically.
I would question. I would probably look at it and say that he, again, it led to his demise, he said. So the whole thing is he kind of deluded himself to thinking he had this special connection with animals. And if I recall, didn't Gordy get shot before he actually fist bumped him?
He did.
He shot before. So we don't. So are we sure that Gordy was actually docile at that point and he was gonna get a fist bump, or is it one of those things where it's open? Maybe Gordy would have been aggressive towards him. We don't know, because we didn't actually see what was gonna happen. It all ended beforehand. He assumed he was gonna fist bump him, but do we actually know what would have happened had Gordy not been shot? Potentially that could have led to his demise, and maybe the whole thing is that later on the exact same situation happened. And because there was no one there to take out this flying saucer, stingray, plant, alien, whatever you want to call it, it almost finished what Gordy started. It took Duke's life.
To be fair, you bring up a really good point, Ruben, because we don't know. Like, and actually, if you think about it, because all the scenes that we see of the whole chimp attack, it's played through flashbacks. So this is basically Gordy's memory, and obviously memory can be unpredictable. It can change as you grow older. So maybe he's remembering things. He's remembering Gordy as a friend rather than this this threat to him personally. So maybe it didn't play out exactly that way, but this is how he remembers it. He remembers it. Gordy looked at me. Sorry, what was the name of the chimp? I keep calling him Gordy. Gordy. Gordy looked at me, and he was reaching out to give me a spot, because that's what we saw. But again, we don't know. He maybe he just imagined it that way.
Yeah, it's how it looked to him.
Yeah, this is the thing. So
yeah, and I think part of the problem with this movie is, like you said, Pete, you can't really think about or watch this movie from a very simplistic point of view. The problem is, the majority of people will. And when they do, it's going to be a very boring sci-fi horror flick that doesn't really start ratcheting it up until towards the third act. Whereas most people aren't going to have these meta conversations about what the mindset of the chimpanzee and how that's interwoven the themes of it. They're going to be like, this is what is going on here? Why is it included? So I think that is why you have wildly varying reviews on people in terms of some people calling it a 9 or a 10 out of 10, and other people saying this is like a 3 out of 10, because it's like, it depends on how you come into this movie and what your mindset is and what you're looking for, and how much you want to delve into a movie and try and come up with your own meta-analysis of what the author was trying to tell you, because it doesn't really explain any of these things. That's why it's all left to the interpretation, and a lot of people don't want to
exactly. A lot,
to watch a movie.
A lot of people don't want to have to go home and do work, like mental work, after watching the movie. Now, and I agree with that. And to be honest, that's kind of why I love the movie, because it just goes to show this isn't like studio, sort of conveyor belt, like factory line type of a movie. Like, this is actual art. Like, art is made to be hated. Art is made to be loved. Like, there's not supposed to be a clear sort of perspective. You can look at things from different angles, and you can sort of make your own analysis and your own interpretation. And I think that's what's kind of so good about this movie. So yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. But at the end of the day, it's art. That's what it's there for. There to sort of, it's meant to invoke an emotion. What emotion is that? It doesn't really matter, as long as it invokes emotion. As long as you don't forget about it. So it's done its job in my eyes.
So, because obviously we've jumped a bit to a part of the movie talking about Duke's claim and how he died. Do we go back a bit and just go through the build up of how we got there, in terms of OJ and M identify that there's some sort of flying object in the sky, and that they buy all this surveillance equipment to try and spot it, because they want to cash in on that in terms of getting a photograph or some sort of evidence for an extra terrestrial being in the sky. And that's when they run into the tech guy. Cannot remember his name. Cam, you just watched the movie. Do you remember his name?
It's an A name.
His name was Angel Torres.
Amber? Angel?
Angel Torres,
Angel, it was
Angel, that's the Angel,
Yeah. So the tech guy helped.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, to hit for me, like, he seemed like I called him the Ghostbusters guy, because he kind of felt like the conspiracy Ghostbuster version of like Ghostbusters, like the way they showed like arriving in the van, and like just how he has all the gadgets and all the gizmos and like and
the knowledge of conspiracies.
Yeah, exactly.
He was literally very convenient to the plot.
Honestly,
He was very forceful, man. My mum was like, "Yo, I can monitor your feeds remotely." Like, he was very forceful with this stuff. And
the thing is, he said that. They said no, and he still did it anyway.
He did it anyway, yeah. He seemed like he really wanted something to do. He's obviously invested in this whole thing. But he was basically what the plot needed him to be. His character wasn't really questionable. He literally was 100% that conspiracy theorist guy. So he fulfilled this role and completed the image that obviously the writer wanted to put across.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't make him just like a walking exposition. Like, he actually has this whole backstory about his girlfriend, and how he
nobody cared about.
Nobody cared about, but it just kind of makes him more human, more relatable. So I actually like that character, and I think he's a highlight of the movie for a lot of people. As well as also going back to sort of the characters, Keke Palmer, I thought she was really good in this film, like, because the main character, Daniel Kaluuya, the main character, i.e. OJ, like, obviously because he goes through this tragedy at the beginning, so throughout the movie he's very kind of like one note. He's not really expressive, not really, like, he's kind of has this monotone kind of delivery as well, and he doesn't really say much. So if he didn't have like his sister, what's her name again? Do you remember her name?
Emerald.
Emerald, yeah. This movie would be really, really depressing and boring because again, he is so down in the dumps, but she lifts the mood of the movie. Like she adds that kind of that levity to it.
Yeah, they were opposites basically in terms
exactly.
of their personality, and they balanced each other out. Because I think if you had either one of them by themselves, I don't think the movie works. I think she would be overly annoying if she was just in this by herself. Like, I think that balance does a good job of balancing it out. So the one guy who's like one tone, like very monotone, that would have made the movie quite dry. I think her by herself would have made the movie quite annoying because of how peppy and like
it would have been like watching a Kevin Hart movie where he's just like screaming the whole time. Do you know what I mean? So no, she definitely it's a good balance.
So I think they set up all of their surveillance, but they have, I guess, just bad luck in trying to capture it because all sorts of random shit happens in terms of like a grasshopper climbs in front of the camera just as the thing's coming. I mean, that kind of just that comedic like movie bad luck really. I mean, what are the chances a grasshopper covers the one camera that still works?
Well, the thing is, I was gonna say, you're watching the film, and because you're kept in the dark about so much stuff, you start looking for meaning in everything. So even that grasshopper, or I don't know if it was a praying mantis or whatever it was, coming down on the camera, like you start looking at that, man, is there meaning in this? Because obviously it flies away at the same point that the alien flying saucer at the point you think it is escapes into the clouds. So you know what I mean? You're thinking like, wow, like what are the chances of it landing there just when this alien is in sight, and then it leaves just when the alien leaves? Like there must be meaning behind that. So throughout the whole film, you're thinking, are they going to come back to that and explain it? Kind of like you're thinking about Gordy at the beginning, and they don't. So you're left to think, oh, okay, it was just a bad luck coincidence, which I'm not even convinced that I can't even say if it was or wasn't at this point. There's a lot of...
Or you think it controls grasshoppers as well?
I don't know, maybe it does, bruv. Maybe it does. You know,
it has the intelligence to know what a security camera is.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe the grasshopper was one of his offspring or something. Do you know what I mean? Like...
I just think of the plot device to get from the first half of the movie to the second half, really.
Yeah, because the movie would be over if once they capture it on camera, that's the movie over. So.
Yeah. I tell you though, that whatever that was, it was a hell of a jump scare, man. Like I tell you, man, Jordan Peele knows how to do like those jump scares.
Yeah.
The one that really got me was the one with the three aliens.
You
know what scene I'm talking about, mate?
Yeah.
Oh man, and that was tense as well. Like
that was funny, bro.
Yeah.
That was funny because I'm so glad when he just punched the kid in the
I'm like, damn.
I was like, yeah, exactly, bro. He's trying to scare them. I was like, nope, bang.
That was bringing back Sixth Sense vibes.
Yeah.
That was bringing back Sixth Sense vibes.
I think that was a very real scene because it's just how. It's a very black scene because he was like, "Yep, no, I'm out."
Well, I think you're half right in terms of from his reaction. I would say it's a real scene.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't say is, like, how close do they live to him? Because this was like in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
What are the chances that the kids? Because they were young kids as well. It's not like they were like 18. We're talking like 10 and under. Like, what are the chances they would be allowed to dress up in an alien costume? And it's not like. It's not like a city where next door neighbor is like literally a 2-second walk. Yeah. Like these are ranches. Man has to walk miles to get to your next door neighbor. Like it seems like a very large stretch to just scare your neighbor, sort of thing. Like
well, they weren't even his neighbor. I mean, that's the point.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't think
they weren't neighbors. Why target him? I mean, I thought I assume they target him because they know he's.
No, they target him because he stole the horse.
Yeah, because he stole. His sister stole the horse.
Ah, right. See him.
Well, that's the explanation they give anyway. But
it's
a bit of strange.
But that was the point where it felt like the movie might be kicking off, and then obviously you find out it's just a bunch of kids making pranks. You're like, okay, cool. So they're saving something else.
Oh, actually, that's a good point you bring up. I wanted to ask you guys, like, how did you feel about the twist, the big twist, with this movie? Because obviously, when like coming into the film, we're led to believe that this is your conventional, typical alien invasion or abduction movie, where you've got these little green men. Because again, they play it up like with those kids, the masks. Even there's a shot when they're showing the chimp attack where you see the cameras and they look like aliens as well. So this whole time you're led to believe that at some point we're gonna see actual alien, like humanoid aliens, show up. But then we realize that the ship itself is the alien. Well, I'd say the alien, the predator,
alien creature.
The creature, exactly. So
I still don't know how he came to that conclusion, but whatever.
I thought that was a very good twist because it was very, for me anyway, it was very much unexpected and something that I haven't seen done before with the whole idea of a flying saucer spaceship. I wouldn't have even thought to think, is that thing a creature? Is it alive? You are actually led to believe it's just a flying saucer.
I understand that, but I don't understand how he came to that conclusion. It's not really explained. Like, he just says, "Oh, it's a creature." I was like, "What gave you that idea? All you see is it tucking things up." It's not.
I think it's the way it moves because he does talk about.
He assumes it by the way it moves, but it's still an assumption because he has no idea what alien technology could be to assume it's a creature. He assumed it based on it exhibited traits that some human, like some animal predators on this would exhibit. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that was an animal too. It is an assumption. He just happened to be correct in terms of the way it sucked things up, the way it threw away in that inorganic matter as well, the way it moved, the way it attacked things that looked directly at it rather than things that didn't look away, things like that. But there are assumptions. There are assumptions that he made. I mean, we know it was unorganic because we see the inside of it and we see the people getting eaten, but he never see that. So it is an assumption on his part, which turns out to be right. And he didn't pull it out of nowhere. He based it on other animals, but his
experience of force.
But it is a stretch.
He works around.
It's a very big stretch.
Yeah, but overall, I think it was a good twist, and I think the way that they introduced the creature throughout the movie. So it obviously started off at the beginning with the dad. Before the dad gets killed, they're hearing the screams, and at that point you don't know what the point of that is, and then obviously later on you find out it's because these people that have been, I don't want to say abducted, but sucked up or captured or eaten by this alien creature are being digested and they're screaming. And that gave me a real kind of eerie feeling. It was really creepy, just kind of imagining that concept of hearing screams from something above your house.
100%. You know what that reminded me of? Do you know what that reminded me of? When you go to like a theme park, like, and you can hear the roller coasters, you can hear like the people screaming above you, and it gives you those chills because you're like, raw, like, can you just imagine the terror these people are going through? So that kind of harkened back to that, and bringing that up is actually a good point because I feel like the sound design in this movie is like so good. Like I haven't heard sound design like the those sort of just uncomfortable noises that the alien makes. It's like wailing, or I don't know, like it's like a whale but in the air.
I think when it comes to Jordan Peele, when he's doing his movies, the cinematography, the sounds, he does it really well. Honestly. And it shows through all of his movies.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
Yeah, because he focuses not just on, obviously a lot of movies mainly focus on the visuals, but he's trying to engage your other senses as much as possible. So definitely, it definitely pulls you in.
It pulls you in, and it builds the atmosphere.
Situation.
Yeah.
At least it tries to for this movie.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems I had with the movie is one of the plot points around Jupe's character feeding horses to the alien. I don't think that plot point makes any sense, and it is quite fundamental to the movie because this is how, because this is where the alien starts to go pretty much on the offensive and doesn't care about stealth anymore when he eats up the entire thing. So if you remember in the beginning of the movie, OJ's character has been selling his horses to Jupe's character, and I think it was like $11,500 or whatever that he was selling his horses.
Yeah.
And we found out later that Jupe has been feeding those horses to the alien.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think, because he is a businessman, that makes no sense from a business point of view. Because that means bare minimum, those shows cost $11,000 each. There's no way that, because you saw how many people were in the audience. Even if he was charging them, even if he was charging $150 each, he wouldn't make that money back. So
maybe he was investing for the future. Maybe he was investing for the future, innit?
Because he said he would do it every Friday,
but he's making money from the theme park, though. He's making money from the actual theme park.
No, but he's still losing on those individual shows because he's paying 10 grand a horse per show, and he's using one horse to feed the alien. I think making more than a few $1,000s. So I can't believe he would do that show at a loss. I think that show was a plot point and a device to use it. But on the other hand, let's say he is making enough money to do that. How has no one else recorded that alien? Because what does it look like from the? You see a horse get shot up into the air and get disappear, and no one's videoed it.
He tells you.
He tells you you can't record it.
It's like when you're in the cinema. When you're in the cinema and they say like, no, put your phones away, no recording.
This is the thing.
No one's snapping a picture with a Polaroid camera or nothing.
This is the thing.
But I think it's a big part of the story, and I don't think there's a good explanation for how that would actually, like, his character wouldn't actually do that. Because one, you wouldn't be able to keep it a secret if you saw a horse get sucked up into the sky every Friday, and financially it wouldn't make any sense either. So I think it was a plot point to drive the movie forward, but I think it was a weak one in terms of it doesn't make sense from the character's motivation or from just how people would react if they saw that.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you could see that and think, shit, how would you be able to fake that?
And no one has gone to a news outlet or nothing and said, you know what, this guy's got a farm where he's just feeding animals to this alien.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is as well that obviously, I mean, I was pretty shocked to see the show, and it's literally just like the local townspeople. You would think stuff from like this, especially because he's like a child star, he wants to be famous again. You would think what he would be doing is trying to get as much attention on this as possible. So, I mean, again, a lot of this is based on assumption, but you can assume this is kind of the early stages when he was trying to tame the creature, he's testing things out, and maybe his plan was to make it bigger, to rake the money in, to expose it to the world, and he was going to be the main contact for the alien, but it's all assumption based, isn't it? So I presume this was early stages, and it all started when OJ started selling horses to him. That was kind of I imagine around the starting point when
that's still 6 months worth of time, mate.
Oh, well, 6 months. I don't know how long does it take to train an alien? So
Yeah, but how many horses would you need to train an alien? We're talking at least over 150, 200 grand worth of horses.
Listen. Maybe it's a hungry alien. It's a hungry alien, dude.
And it's not like that. And it's not like that theme park was like raking it in. It's like some rinky-dink theme park in the middle of nowhere. It's not like it's Disneyland. Like, you know what I mean?
In all fairness,
money.
And it's a relatively new one. It said it's been open for 2-3 years.
Yeah. In all fairness, again, it's a valid point, and like I can't, defend this movie because again, if you really think about it in terms of logic, it falls apart. But I would say with this movie, because this movie is about metaphor over logic, that's the only, because it paints in broad strokes. Like it doesn't tell you, okay, this is exactly how things are. Like if you look at most of Jordan Peele's movies, if you were to really break them down, they would fall apart completely. Especially like the last one, Us. I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
I enjoyed Us.
Yeah. You enjoyed it, but it kind of gets to a point, and not to obviously say, kind of derail the review, but it kind of, with Us, it gets to a point where you just kind of you lose track of the story because it no longer applies to real world logic whereby everybody has a doppelganger on beneath the surface. What the heck are you talking about? Like that how would that work? Like when you try to, do you know what I mean? So I think with this film, you have to kind of give it I don't know, you have to kind of like let it off the leash, like suspend your disbelief. You need to suspend your disbelief. I can't just go with it, because if you start to really think about it, then it doesn't really hold up.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the more it does.
Yeah, exactly.
The more you think about it, the less things make sense. You need to kind of look at it from a outside the 3D perspective.
Right.
I would usually do that. Like, for us, for example, that has a far more supernatural vibe to it. If you talk about Get Out, for example, that one was a lot more grounded. So if it had a big plot point that was also didn't make sense like this one, I would critique it quite hard. And to be fair, I did critique the Us thing, because obviously, yeah, a doppelganger for everyone does sound quite stupid.
Yeah.
How does it work? Where they go, like, that's like, but and I put this movie I put in the vein of more Get Out. Like, even though it's got an alien creature, I think it was trying to be more grounded in reality than just, you know, because obviously we have no idea if aliens actually exist. It is possible that an alien could exist. Whereas the whole doppelganger for everyone is a bit more extreme in terms of supernatural, out there nature sort of thing. So that's why I think, in terms of like human motivations, I think those can still be realistic in a supernatural movie. And I just think it hurts your movie if people start acting in ways just to fit your plot, not in the ways that they would actually act. Because I think for the most part, the character motivations were pretty. I think people would act like that. I think most people would, like, they had the TMZ guy at some point turn up as well. I 100% believe that a TMZ guy would do that. So like, for the most part, I think the character motivations did work. It was just that point I was like, and because it was so a big part of the movie, that's why I thought I'd bring it up.
Nah, that's a good point. Actually, you know, it's a good that you brought up the TMZ guy, because like, when you say, oh, this is something that real people do, okay, I draw the line at the TMZ guy. That was not a real person. That was just a representation of the media. Like, come on, let's be honest. Like, his whole dialogue was, "Where's my camera? Somebody record this. Like, take my camera." And he's lying on the ground with broken arm. And like, no, that's not. That's just beyond what is actually feasible. What is you know?
No one is risking their life for a story.
No, exactly. So obviously, it's a representation.
To be fair, there are a lot of crazy people that do shit for clout. Like, honestly, you've seen some of these people on the internet, bro. Like, I actually believe, like, some crazy ass person would do that for clout. Maybe they dialed it to the extreme, but like, definitely putting themselves in that situation just for clout. I could believe that for 100%, because some of the things that people do nowadays just to get on YouTube or get their 15 minutes of fame, like, it wouldn't surprise me.
I don't doubt it'd be there. I doubt that he'd be screaming, "Where's my camera?" I'd be like, "Save me, get me out of here."
No, because the capturing the moment is more important in his life. See, that's the point. Like, that's the underlining whole reason he's in the movie, because he represents that I don't know, again, that sensationalist seeking culture of the media and of the TMZ, you know, the tribes. But anyway,
so I was gonna say, how was his contrast in comparison to the other guy who was there for the picture as well, the perfect shot guy?
Oh yeah, the cinematographer,
Antlers or whatever his name is. The guy that got down for the shot, because he obviously went down there for his whole thing was about getting the perfect shot. And I think towards the end, he said something along the lines of, I don't know, some things aren't meant to be captured, or we don't deserve.
I mean, he was an artist, so I believe he's crazy.
You think he was crazy? I don't know. He seemed pretty what's the word?
Yeah, like, but people go to
just set on his own philosophy, bro. Do you know what I mean? That's how it came across to me.
That's why I said he's an artist, because people will die for their art, and that's what he was doing. So
yeah. Absolutely.
But did he even go to get the perfect shot at the end?
That's why he
used himself as bait, did he? Is that his thing?
No, he literally went out there with his camera to film it.
Yeah, so he wanted to get the perfect shot for himself, but he wasn't focused on obviously the fame and getting into the work.
No, he didn't care. Clearly he didn't, because he
died.
Because you don't have the shot if you're dead. So
yeah.
Well, he wanted that Oprah shot, as they called it, the Oprah shot.
Yeah. Some people who paint in a room and end up dying because they ain't eaten for days, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, but what do you make of the statement he made before he ran off? I swear he said something along the lines of, "We don't deserve this," or "We don't deserve to have this shot," or I can't remember what he said exactly. Do you guys remember? What I mean?
Words are crazy, man.
It's crazy, man.
I don't remember that bit exactly, but you know, he seemed to be speaking in sort of like deep metaphorical conjecture, so possibly. But yeah, no.
It was extremely selfish, to be fair, because he was integral to their plan. Yes,
Yeah.
he had the camera. So like,
With the footage.
yeah, with the footage. So like everything they just went through, he could have got all of them killed because of what
And he got the alien on film, but he was like, no,
Yeah.
this is not enough. I need to get a better shot. Yeah. So you're right. He completely sabotaged the whole plan, just to get just for his own sense of I don't know, capturing this amazing shot.
That was it. He says, sorry, I was just looking up. He says we don't deserve the impossible. That's what he said. So he's always going about this impossible shot.
Oh,
and at the end, he says, at the end, the last thing he says to them is we don't deserve the impossible. So yeah.
Yeah. My only thing is, why would he figure that out there? Like, why would he take the job in the first place? Like, I don't understand what changed. What changed between them asking you to take a picture of an alien and then you getting there with your camera, with your pointing at the alien?
The alien was just that far beyond what you thought it would be, bro. You know what I mean? It was just so much out there. He was like, "No, this is beyond."
It was hypnotizing. It was probably just hypnotizing, man. He just probably couldn't hold himself. He couldn't control himself. So I think that's it just goes to show, you know, people that are chasing their passions, you know.
Yeah.
No, kind of
That's the question I
blindsided.
want to ask actually. What did you actually think of the alien, the design of the alien?
I liked it. It was simple, but at the same time, it was unique. Like, and the point at which it transformed into this
Yes,
angelic.
it's got Dragon Ball Z transformation as well. So you know.
Yeah,
It's got power up.
it's
Man,
final form. Final
Probably,
form.
was,
Yeah.
probably wasn't even its final form, bro.
Oh,
It was a giant ass kite. I was like, why are you a kite? I don't understand the need for it to be a kite, of all things.
And I think it was there was something important about the shape it took at the end, because it started to represent an actual lens or an actual shutter, where it was facing
the eye.
The eye. Because I mean, I know you were saying.
Was that an eye?
Well,
that's what it was. I don't know. Every time
I was like,
I mean, it was some kind of opening. It was some
I said
kind
it's eye because every time they looked up, it would change which way it's looking. So when she was looking at it, it would point that way. He's looking at it, point that way. So I'd say it's an eye.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, with the whole kind of because it seemed to be taking the image of like a camera lens, and because you were saying the theme is about kind of exploiting animals, and kind of the theme I took from this is that it's about the whole chasing spectacle, because each one of the characters in this movie is basically chasing a spectacle for their own kind of personal motivation, and I feel like the alien represents, you know, getting consumed by that obsession, and I feel like in terms of the real world, that spectacle is more so like the secular world, so like the media, the news, entertainment industry, and how like kind of if you allow it to consume, well, if we allow it to consume us, then it'll basically like take over us. It will take over our lives. It'll take control of us. So I feel like that was kind of the baseline representation. I'm not really with the whole ending and how like they managed to actually defeat the alien. I'm not really sure what the meaning was behind that, like with the whole balloon. I guess I
think they're on that budget. Like, no, how would we end this?
Yeah.
I think for the plot, I think they needed the alien to die in order for them to get the actual win. Because if the alien didn't die, everyone's seen it now. Your picture ain't worth a lot, so you done all of this for nothing.
Well, this is
because there's loads of camera crews literally outside of where he was fighting it. So at that point, the picture she took is fucking worthless.
Yeah.
So I guess they had to have her kill it off so that it's seen as a victory for the main characters. That's all I could get from it. And also because it's a blockbuster movie, so you kind of need a satisfying finale or something.
Yeah, no, this is a good point.
Because if the alien's still there,
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Obviously you needed to tie up the kind of the conclusion of the story, otherwise it wouldn't really be a proper story. But I was just like, why the balloon? That's the only thing that I was kind of puzzled about.
I mean the balloon was obviously, it was I can't remember his name, but it was that like a boy, balloon of a boy character, right? Like a humanoid.
Yeah, it was Duke.
It was a cowboy.
Yeah, it was
cowboy.
Duke. It was Duke.
And the whole thing was the balloon. The balloon presumably the creature thought the balloon was looking at it, and obviously it's a non-living thing. And because it thought it was looking at it, then that is what led the creature to consume this, non-human thing, which led to its demise. So just going off what Peter said, maybe it's something to do with along the lines of without the viewer, without someone to look and to hunt and to seek that kind of entertainment, then the very thing that needs that to be fed into it to survive will in itself come to its own demise. I don't know. That's just throwing it out there, trying to put an extra layer on it, if that makes sense.
No, I get it. I would say for me, something that I didn't think was great was the VFX in the movie, especially with the chimp. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, because after watching like the Planet of the Apes trilogy, like they've just taken special effects to a whole new level. So especially when it's kind of dealing with chimps as well. So when I look at this movie now, I just can't get the believer. It doesn't really sell me on the believability of that ape being there. So the scene doesn't really hit.
I would give it a pass on the visual effects, mainly because mainly what we're talking about is the chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee's not really in the movie for that long. I think he's in it for like a cut up version, like maybe 2 or 3 scenes maybe, and he's in it very short. Like if the visual effects were like, if that chimp was like a main part of the story and it was bad, then I would hammer it a lot more.
Right.
But because it is only 1 or 2 scenes, the main visual effect that they had was obviously the flying saucer, which didn't look as bad as the chimp, in my opinion. So I would give it a pass on the bad looking, even though it was bad. Yeah, it didn't look good because it wasn't in the movie that long. I personally didn't find it that bad in terms of taking me out of the movie or anything.
Nah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I didn't linger on it. It was just my initial thought, but yeah, I didn't linger on it for that long.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the shoe?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot.
What damn sense?
The shoe.
I was wondering if I have to bring it up or not, but
You know what? I've been stuck on this one for a long time. Like I can't really seem to make heads or tails of it. I don't know if you guys have any theories or any thoughts on that.
Yeah, what are we talking about, sir?
The shoe
with the bloodstain.
There's a shoe with a bloodstain, and it's upright.
Up.
It's stood upright, and Dupe frames it. He frames it and adds it to his collection of like memorabilia.
Oh right, that I got nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I thought roped into just kind of roped back into the whole thing about obviously this thing, like what Peter was saying. You look at it, the more you look at it, the more it tries to consume you. And I thought that was the whole, and that's what people are saying. Well, that was the whole point behind the shoe. The shoe distracted Dupe long enough so that he wasn't looking at the chimp. Presumably, the chimp was going after everyone because it was, they were looking at him, and it was this whole dominant thing with chimps. And because he was distracted by the shoe, that is why the chimp initially didn't go after him when it was on its rampage. So I mean, that kind of does make sense, because that feeds into obviously OJ discovering, if you're looking at something else and not looking at this creature, it will not harm you. I think you briefly discussed that with me as well, Pete. When we
see, the thing is, like I've heard that theory before as well, Ruben, and I watched the movie again, and like Dupe is still clearly looking in the direction. So, like the shoe is behind Gordy the ape,
yeah.
But he's still looking in the same direction. So I don't know if that really holds water, that theory.
Well, we're looking for. I mean, we can't actually see what Dupe. Again, I guess this is all conjecture. We can't actually see what Dupe is looking at. Aren't we seeing things through Dupe's eyes? So we can't actually see what he's focused on. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's another thing.
I get where you're going.
Yeah.
It's another thing that's kind of unfair.
Yeah, I think Cameron said that right. I think it's a bit of a stretch because it's hard to, and I think even it kind of plays into the kind of theme of this movie of like how we, when things don't make sense, we kind of put meaning behind it, and like I think that's what this movie's kind of going for. It's just kind of randomly putting things that don't really make sense, because they call it a bad miracle. I think OJ's correct character calls it a bad miracle, and we try to make things of something. We try to make sense of things that don't make any sense. Just just obviously to help us go.
Yeah, I think that's a very strong. I think that's a very strong theme you brought up there, because that actually ties in with Jupe's character trying to make sense of things, and actually, even like I was saying, the whole thing with the that grasshopper thing. Throughout the movie, you are constantly trying to make sense of things through your own opinion, which inevitably lead to nothing making sense.
Yeah.
I guess that is quite a strong thing. I guess that maybe
because sometimes the most simple explanation is the correct one, in that animals are unpredictable. And they can act like people can be unpredictable. Sometimes there isn't a mastermind reason for why an animal freaks out. Maybe it's just because it just happened to do it on that day. We do like to see patterns and try to find an answer to everything, because that's how we make sense of the world. We try to find reasons for anything, and sometimes an animal's just gonna animal. Because he's put in an unnatural environment. Yeah, so.
Oh boy!
And one thing I've noticed is that this might seem a little bit kind of pretentious, but I feel like most of Jordan Peele's movies do come across a bit pretentious. And he like uses animals to symbolize like marginalized people, or like black people, in all of his movies. So with Get Out, there was the deer, or the rain. I think it's what's the animal with the antlers? It's a deer, right? Deer, yeah. So if you remember in that movie, the deer represented how black culture is appropriated. So they use basically the deer as a decoration, and then in Us they use the rabbits. He uses the rabbits, and again the doppelgangers, they represent the kind of marginalized society, the black people in society who outnumber, so that they make up the majority, but they're marginalized. So obviously like multiplying like rabbits. And then in this movie, obviously the horses represent the overlooked aspect of entertainment, which again black people being, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but that's kind of like from watching some of this content and like some of the explanations and theories. That's an ongoing thing of the Jordan Peele movies. So yeah, just to add another element to it, I just found it quite interesting myself.
Yeah, maybe his next movie will be called Stretch, bro.
Yeah. yeah. Well, I mean, I really like his, because his movies really like challenge the viewer. They don't kind of just give you straightforward sort of storytelling, and
well, if that's the case, Pete, I feel like this is kind of the one where the teacher makes the exam paper knowing that 99% of people are gonna fail, bro, and they're laughing about it. Like,
there's one of them ones. Yeah, man, you got.
It's like none of you guys are gonna be happy when you get your results, bro. Like,
yeah, man.
And then again, it reminds me, it's like that whole Naruto. The only way to really piece things together is to look at what my Alexis got on his test paper. I'm like, what are you saying about this?
The tunings, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah.
Cool, guys.
All right, cool.
Was there anything else you guys wanted to like share, or anything you wanted to kind of get into?
No, I was gonna ask like what was your glove though? Like the glove. Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Oh, because for my tablet.
Oh, okay, see. Yeah, I was wondering what it was for. So that was a part of like some cosplay or something.
No.
No. Say no more, bro. Say no more. Say no more. Yeah, I think I'm good. I think we discussed, most of what we could make sense of.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, so final thoughts.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Yeah, cool. Are we going with our rating system? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but also say your number as well, just so they know what the rating system applies to. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. So yeah, this movie. I as soon as I finished it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a very divisive movie. overall, I didn't think it was great. I don't think it was terrible. I thought it was middle of the road, maybe a bit better than middle of the road. Even with all of those deeper themes, they didn't really interest me that much. As a sci-fi horror flick, it was okay, but nothing special, nothing extraordinary. I thought the main cast were serviceable. I thought they done a good job with what they were given. Some of the plot points, like I already mentioned, I think they were just there to drive the movie forward. They didn't actually make sense from what normal people would actually do. And but overall, I would give this a 6 out of 10. So nutritious, but nothing special. It was middle of the road. Out of Jordan Peele's 3 movies, I think this is the worst one. I would say. I think Get Out is still his best work. I thought Us was somewhere between Get Out and this, and I think this is probably his, in my opinion, not his worst movie to date. But who knows what he'll come out with in the future. I'm always glad. What I do appreciate Jordan Peele for is that he takes risks. He actually tries to do something out of the norm. And when you do take risks, sometimes you'll fall short, which is perfectly fine. I'd rather that, because if you take risks, you could also come out with something which I'd thought like Get Out, and which I think was really good. And sometimes you miss the mark, in my opinion, with a movie like this. But I hope he continues to keep pushing the boundaries and keep trying to take those risks, because that's where the most innovative movies come from, rather than, because we already have enough of the cookie cutter, out of the box standard movie structures, predictable movies. We don't need any more of those. So I would like more movies that take risks, or think outside the box. And if they fall short, they fall short. And if they don't, then great. We've got a cult classic that will be watched again in another 20 years or so, rather than the majority of movies nowadays, which you wouldn't watch again the next month after once you've seen it once. So I'll give it 6 out of 10. Nutritious, but nothing special.
Yeah, and I think that's justified. And I think just bouncing off what you said, it was that element for me anyway. That the fact it was so unpredictable through and throughout. The fact that it did keep you guessing, it did keep you asking questions, and not in an annoying way, but almost as if you anticipate more and more. You constantly want to know, what is the meaning behind this, what is happening, is there going to be like a grand reveal at the end? For me, it really annoyed. I don't mind when a movie makes you walk away and think and piece together your own meaning, but I think this movie took that a bit too far. Like when you have to have man going on the internet, like looking at all these different ideas, and you can't even say to any one of them that this makes 100% sense. Everything is literally just, okay, it could be this, but we can't be 100% sure. Nothing was very clear cut in the film, so you don't really get that definitive sense of you can actually understand what the actual point behind this film was. I think only Jordan Peele would know what the point behind is, unless he actually tells us, which he probably will never do. But I like to at least be able to walk away feeling like I resonated at some part of the film, and I don't think this movie done that for me. But visually, it was good to watch, and I did really enjoy the twist of the flying saucer being an alien. I thought that was a very good and original idea. I would like to see more creative things like that happening on screen, where I can watch something, forge my own opinion or assumption about it, and be wowed away, like, wow, I wouldn't have thought that would happen in a film. So I think that was done really well. But I just think it just left me kind of just thinking. I was in limbo after the film, and I was just staring at the wall thinking, like, what am I meant to take away from this movie? But I think for me, I would probably give it a 4. A 4 being, weird aftertaste. And I think it's just because I say 4 is weird aftertaste, and I think it does have that weird aftertaste. I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a terrible movie. It did keep me engaged, but it is just a weird aftertaste. I'm left thinking, constantly trying to think what all this meant, and I know that I'm gonna go to my grave never knowing. Do you know what I mean? Probably thinking about it up until I'm 8 years old and never. So for me, it's probably it's a 4, weird aftertaste. But maybe I'm just not, I'm too two-dimensional.
Wow. Boy, crazy.
The full picture.
All right, man. No, to each their own. And again, going back to what I said earlier, yeah, this movie is not is or what Law said even. This is a very divisive movie. So, whether you loved it or you hated it, your point is still very valid. So that's the thing. I respect everyone's opinions with this movie, and for myself, I absolutely love this movie. And I'll be honest, the first time I watched it, I walked away very confused and very kind of like, oh, I don't really know how to feel about this movie. Like, obviously, you can't compare it to Get Out, and one of the things about Get Out is because it set such a high bar for Jordan Peele movies. That kind of made him a name. That kind of made him sort of the person to talk about when it came to like horror movies or just comedic horror movies. And so far, I feel like the movies he's made after that haven't quite stepped up to that, and including this one. But I feel like this isn't really it's not trying to be the same movie. Like, it's something completely different. No pun intended. It's like its own beast. But it, as you said, Laura, it definitely stands the test of time. Like, it's a timeless. It's the message behind it is what is important. Like, the message of spectacle, the message of like trying to chase the unattainable. It's just something that is really powerful to me, and watching the movie again, it kind of just deepens that sense of, what he knew what he was doing, he knew what he was trying to create, and there's just so much that goes into this movie. Like, there's little sort of bits of attention to detail. Like, one thing I forgot to mention is like the way the bit where the blood falls on the house. Like, that scene just gave me super chills. Like, and I feel like with me, when I watch a movie, it's all about how it makes me feel. And even if I don't understand it, if you get me to feel a certain way, then like I feel like mission accomplished. Like, you've actually done what you set out to do, and that's why I kind of I still enjoyed it, even if I couldn't really come to a complete sort of understanding of what everything in this movie meant. So yeah, I mean, that's really my point of view. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll be watching this movie a few more times, and again, it's just I'm just gonna love it even more and more. So that's, for me, this like movie is sort of very succulent. I'd give it an 8 because, again, I feel like it's not your typical, as you were saying again, Laurie, it's not your typical Hollywood blockbuster. And one thing we forgot to even talk about was the shots, the cinematography, especially the night shots, the way the lighting is, because obviously if you're shooting in the dark, it's very difficult to kind of piece out, actors and like the set pieces. But the way this film is shot, you can see everything as if it's being shot in the day. So yeah, the way it was able to give this feeling of unease throughout the whole movie, ramping up that tension before you even get to see the alien. As I said before, the sound design just really creeped me out and just really kind of got me in that tense kind of state of mind. So I don't know, I love this movie. You can tell, I'm very passionate about it, and it's made me go home and do research. No other movies really got me kind of working, got me thinking so much about a movie. Even the film even gives you homework. Like, there's a bit where Jupe is talking about the SNL sketch, and when you actually go back and watch, when you actually go on YouTube and watch the sketch, it actually gives you more context for the movie. So this film is giving you homework to like kind of understand it better. And like, if you're like an active watcher, if you're someone who's really taken it in, then you're gonna walk away with this. You're gonna walk away with a lot more from this. Whereas if you just come in expecting, this is just gonna be XYZ, and you don't get what the trailer sells you, because obviously the trailer has a lot of things in it that aren't in the movie, and vice versa. So anyway, all I'll say is, yeah, absolute chef's kiss. Absolutely love this movie. Obviously it's going to resonate with me for a long time to come, and I'm definitely going to recommend this movie to other people.
Cool. A very divisive movie. Yeah, I've said this before in other reviews, but I do enjoy a movie that will keep me guessing, and I don't know what's going to happen next. And I have to say, this movie definitely did that. From each scene, I was not sure what was going to happen next. And I like that about a movie, because obviously we've got a lot of movies where you could just say, okay, he's going to bust that corner, there's going to be a face there, he's going to jump, he's going to be scared. And this movie, it didn't have me that. I was always still guessing what's going to happen next. And Jordan Peele, he's good at doing that as well. And like Pete said, with the cinematography and the audio, he gets you engaged in his movies. You feel like you're there. If like when the house was dripping with blood, I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I understand why it's happening, but it's still real creepy. And I did enjoy. That's one of my favorite scenes of the movie, actually, because it shows you the consequence of putting a decoy down and it's eating, and it's like this alien's coming for you, is angry with you because you tricked it. And it was a quite a powerful scene. Though the overall tones of the movie I didn't quite understand. I get that it was, like we said, it was to do with animal cruelty in the entertainment industry, and you can see the scenes where they're trying to show you like with the in the beginning with the horse and the orb thing that is put in his nearest eye and it kicked the woman. I see that happening. They had a safety tutorial, nobody listened. Shit's gonna happen. And it's again the same thing happened with the monkey. The balloons came out, the balloon popped, the monkey freaked out. And it's one of the plots that was running throughout the movie, and I was just like, I get what you're trying to say, but again, it doesn't resonate with me at all. But it was a good movie. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. Just it wasn't for me. Like Lawrence said, it's not one of his best movies for me. I haven't seen Get Out yet. People get tempted to see it. I'll see it eventually.
You haven't seen Get Out?
Yeah, I haven't seen Get Out.
Seriously, oh
Read the
man.
Get Out, bro. Read the Get Out.
Dude, you're not black unless you watch Get Out, bro. You can't call yourself.
I will
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. This is like the
Peter's out here trying to block the competition, bro. You know what I mean, right?
Oh man, nah, I'm playing. Well, actually watch it. It's a freaking amazing movie, honestly.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I will watch it eventually when I get some time.
Dude, make some time, man. It's like watch it tonight, bro. Like I'm telling you.
Well, my rating for this movie, I will give it a 6. It was nutritious, it was entertaining, but it was nothing special. I probably won't watch it again because, like I said, it was an entertaining movie, but it really did nothing for me apart from a couple of scenes. So yeah, 6 for me.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool, man.
I think our ratings reflect exactly how the divisive this movie actually is.
Yeah, nah, for
I
sure.
figured it would range. To be fair, I didn't think Ruben was going to come with the 4 though.
I was shocked, man. Damn, like, okay.
Yeah.
So this is not your type.
No, man. I thought again. Like I said, I like a movie that makes you think. I like a movie that makes you think. I don't like a movie that makes you feel like you have to jump online.
Have to do revision.
Have to do revision, but also everything that you revise and everything that you try to look into, you are left with nothing but conjecture. That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
If there's one aspect of if you watch a movie and one aspect that you didn't get and you have to look into that one aspect, that's fine. But when you have to do that for like everything of almost the whole film, I'm like, no.
Well, the thing is, like as I said, Peele, he likes to challenge his audience. Like he doesn't want to hold your hand. He doesn't want to like treat you like a baby.
I am challenged.
He doesn't. Yeah, but that's the thing. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with treating your audience like they're grown adults. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like kids that you have to spoon feed all the information.
I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I
think the problem is, Pete, is that there's a spectrum on how you do that, and a lot of times, a lot of movie writers can use that excuse for just bad storytelling. Right. And it's getting that balance of actually telling a compelling story that challenges the audience, and not actually require them to do additional research on the law to figure out what the hell you were actually saying. So I think it's that balance. And you said something very important, is usually when people are reviewing something, they remember how something makes them feel. Yeah. So regardless of all of the technical aspects people talk about, really, it's all driven by how the movie made you feel when you were watching it. And like you were saying, it made you feel a certain way. A lot of the time when I was throughout this movie, I felt bored or confused. And when a big chunk of your movie's doing that, and it doesn't really have a satisfying payoff, I could see, unless I want a satisfying payoff comes from your interpretation
Yeah.
of what the director was thinking, that's when, you know, you're leaving yourself open to that sort of
of course.
diverse opinion, which I do appreciate, because it means he's taking a risk. I appreciate movies that take a risk, because again, like multiple movies, like Netflix movies in particular, for example, are just literally like copy and paste.
Hollow.
Yeah,
hollow.
exactly.
You almost feel like you got, you know, if you, then you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because I thought Get Out had a lot of deep themes as well, but I didn't feel like I needed to do any research to understand what he was going with for that one. So I guess that is usually just comparing it. Like you said, he set himself such a high standard. But I want him to keep turning out these movies, because he will, every so often, he will hit it out the park. I just don't think this one was that.
Actually, I'm interested because I'm still in disbelief that Cam hasn't watched Get Out. But I actually kind of envy you, dude, because like, again, most people coming into this movie have seen Get Out, and they're like, okay, look, this better be as good or better than Get Out. Do you know what I mean? But you have no expectations to hold it up to. So I would have, that's what I envy about you, Cam, to be honest, because like I would have liked to have come into because I'm sure both you and Ruben, you're slightly biased because you've seen Get Out, so you kind of have a. Would you say that? Would you say you kind of?
Yeah, I feel like it's a thing. Oh, Get Out. I mean, but both Get Out and No did give me that eerie feeling that I was talking about. It did give you that kind of creepy, eerie feeling. I'm not disputing the movie doesn't do that, because there were some really strong, powerful parts of the movie which instill within you that kind of eerie feeling of, man, this is creepy. It's making my skin crawl. It's just that with Get Out, alongside that, there is a story you can follow. But with Nope, you've got the feeling without the story, you know, being able to follow an actual consistent story, which makes sense. I think that's where it misses the mark for me. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But yeah, maybe you just have to be on the sixth dimension to really take away and understand what this movie means for us.
Yeah, I think potentially we might come into some sort of bias, having watched previous movies of his. I try to take that into account as well, so not to like, because I wasn't expecting Get Out like level, because like I said, it's quite hard to live up to that. So I tried to do it on the merits of its own movie. But yeah, I think we should probably wrap this up, because it's
cool.
Cool. It was a good discussion though, guys. Like I really enjoyed it. Man, good to hear your opinions and your feedback. So we'll until next time, I guess, when we do this again.
Cool.
Okay, so that is it for the review. Hope you thoroughly enjoyed it just as much as we enjoy talking about it. Hey, I'm sure you might disagree, or you might even agree with us. So please leave down your opinions in the comment section. If you did enjoy this, you could click the like button. Also, you could even think about subscribing, following us, because we have a lot more reviews to come out. So definitely worth your while. And again, if you enjoyed this, then share your video and let other people know about us. So that would really help us to grow. So it's been really, really fun. And once again, we look forward to the next time that we meet. And until then, take care of yourselves. All the best.